quick. Somewhat cobbled together, but this should suffice as a base of operations. Take heart, old friend, though every step we take seems to raise more questions. We'll wade through this mire of mysteries eventually. Of that I have no doubt. Now I've cleared into the Deltascape. Sid is eager to proceed into the investigation. I will probably leave that because trying to roll a dungeon at midnight is not a great idea. Right then, what to do next? We know that Omega is conducting tests to determine the strongest being, but we do know that its ultimate purpose not even its exact whereabouts. Plainly, however, it is within Omega's power to curtail our stay here whensoever it chooses. Accordingly, we have little choice but to proceed as bidden, defeat the test subject waiting in Deltascape. Well, Alpha certainly seems keen, but it may be best if you left the fighting to others, little one. That is, of course, assuming others are willing. What say you, old friend? Promises to be the most entertaining foray. I would not dream of missing any part of it. You may rely on me to provide you with some remote support. Commendable foresight, I took the liberty of borrowing the various monitors that were laying around. I shall extract all information I can from them. Well, Craig, I'm probably going to be finishing this soon. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this expansion tonight, but I'm glad I started it because otherwise I wouldn't have had a thing for my day. Well, I would have just had to set up the PC again. Tis a pity none of us speak Chocobo. As I recall, though, we are supposed to have Alpha transfer his authorization to us prior to engaging in combat. In which case, now you'll need him to accompany you into the Deltascape. See to your preparations and proceed whenever you're ready. Quest accepted. Where? I get to proceed. You may enter Deltascape fee 1.0 whenever you're ready. There we go. It is what? I am actually not allowed in because of my level requirement. That's interesting. It's a raid. So yeah, it's the equivalent to Alexander. There's so many fucking Alexander raids. It might be the equivalent to the Alliance raids, normal raids. No, it's normal raid, so... yeah, it's the equivalent of Bahamut. Okay, that makes sense. We're not going to do that now, but... who are you? Why is there other people here? Dark below. Let us... what's there? Game says no? So we have to leave first. Do you want to leave the interdimensional rift? Ooh, that's one set up. Ooh. Oh, I completely missed that. I didn't know the Hall of Fame had things like that. He definitely deserves to go in. Oh, fair enough. I thought you were continuing the thing, and I was like, oh no, I missed the first time. That might not be such a bad thing, though, because they need to fix their reputation right a bit. And having somebody allowed to say bad things would be useful. He's inducted somebody into the Hall of Fame, though, isn't he? Middle-aged Highlander. It means we'll have to induct Vince Russo into the Hall of Fame as well. In the palace? No, not me, lass. Surely you've heard stories of the Mad King. He used to hold public executions to the divine audience. Anyone? I mean, anyone suspected of conspiring against the crown was flung from the top of those steps. I say that I stayed far away from the palace as possible. They're gonna run out of people. They'll have to start like putting in like Heidenreich and people like that. There's an entire era of wrestlers that just sort of went nowhere. I guess Carlito's back though. You want to hear an old maid stories here? Well, most of what I know of the Mad King is common knowledge. We'd only see his royal majesty when he disdained to attend the executions he ordered. After a while, even watching his enemies die wasn't enough to coax him out of hiding. Then he started seeing assassins in every shadow. Wouldn't set foot outside the palace walls. I was offered to work there as a royal servant once, but the mere thought of it left me in a cold sweat. Yeah, I was gonna say. So, not just Vince Russo, but like, there's a bunch of people who should be inducted, like, who suddenly can't because they're associated with Vince McMahon, like Kevin Dunn and fucking Freebird's already been inducted, haven't they? Just. But also all the managers and stuff. So not just Jim Cornette, but again WCW guy, I forgot his name, and ECW guy. I served at the pleasure of King Theodoric. I lived to tell the tale. One of the palace guards I was. If we told it was a dark chapter of my life, one or two never forget. Lahadi and I went by, and we didn't hear blood-curdling screams echoing from the inner chambers, which of course were under orders to ignore. It was stand still as statues, trying not to imagine what horrors were unfolding within. The hell's been funny what happened in the palace. Down the street and asked old Ernold, was the king's head scribe. Hey Ernold. Sam Arnold, what do you want with me? Let me dredge up some decidedly unsavory memories. Yet, Alamy goes to move forward. We must needs acknowledge the misdeeds of the past. Very well, I should tell you what I remember. I take it you know of Theodoric's paranoia and public executions of his kinsmen. Those are terrible enough, but in his last days, the king's fevered mind settled upon an even grisly method of disposal, which only a chosen few were unfortunate enough to witness. His Majesty ordered the court thaumaturge to unleash a vile curse upon the remaining members of the royal family of magic, transform them into fiends of hideous aspect. Resulting monstrosities were cast into the darkness below the palace. Even now my sleep is troubled by nightmares. The others of Theodoric's blood were prone to share his madness, and mayhap it is kindness that the monarchy ended with him. I mean, I could play. Like, I'm working from home tomorrow, so I should have mentioned. Oh, I forgot to say in the last stream, I did go to work today. Actually, I guess I did, but like I mentioned, I might not have if I didn't get a sleep, but I did. So, and like, I couldn't have booked it as a holiday. I would have had to book it as long paid, and I like being paid, you know. But I got shit done. Since we're all here, why don't we share what we've learned? Let me to begin. As promised, I scoured the Imperial records for any mention of fantastic treasures and found precisely none. It is possible, I suppose, a corrupt official deliberately hid the fact of Trevor's discovery in hoping to enrich himself, but I find it rather unlikely that so valuable a find would stay secrets for so long. I conclude that a prize either does not exist, or the Imperial somehow overlooked it. What have you, Naive? What are your investigations any more fruitful? Yeah, it's like a darkness below. And into monsters, what could this mean? By the darkness beneath the palace, I wonder. But no man in Allegheny who spoke of the palace's subterranean prison said naught of accursed abominations. No archives were also silent on the subjects of fiends inside the palace grounds. The described fellow had been spinning her yarns, you think? You believe him, Naive? His fear seemed genuine. He was afraid that does lend credence to the tale, though I'm not sure how that helps us in our search. Do not be hasty. Arnold's anecdote may very well have told us where the trove is hidden, but ere I shared my theory, it was a matter I would clarify. I'm involved, you spoke light-hearted adventure, but I sense a deeper motive for this expedition. Why are you so intent on finding this treasure? Is it something to do with the Echo? It wasn't all pretense, I swear, but you're right. My father was in the Imperial Army, a man of Garlean blood, and I trust you know what I mean when I say that Alamegan mother did not welcome my arrival. That is quite the way of putting that. As I grew, she would check my brow over and over, convinced that a spot on my skin was emerging third eye, like the kind you'd see in the pure-blood Garleans. My mother did not care for this taunting reminder of my heritage. Took up a knife. War paint serves to cover the scar. In the end, she turned me out into the street, and I was left to haunt the alleyways. El Amigo, a feral child, who got what he needed through begging, cunning, or worse. Best I could say for years that followed is that I survived. But I hated the animal I'd become. Eventually, I had left the city behind me. I joined a group of refugees bound to the other side of the wall. It was then that I turned to adventuring. The road led me to the company of Scions. Tell you this so you understand. I know all too well what poverty and hunger can do to a person. I drew steel on ordinary folk for a measly crust of bread. With Theodric's gold, I could spare my countrymen the shame of living like that. Thank you, Arenfold. I know, I apologise. That could not have been pleasant to recall, but I felt it best to clear in our intentions. Well, now, are you content to surrender the treasure to Arenfold's noble cause? Claim the fill of adventure as your reward? I'm a happy bunny. Then I should be glad to tell you my theory on the resting place of the Mad King's Trove, if you're minded to hear it. Okay, is it fending or slaying? It's got to be slaying, surely. Ah, the rings. Where did it go? Armory chest. But why? I want it on me. Oh, the earrings. But cool, but why was it in my... Oh, hang on. It's earrings, I can just grab them. Fuck. Slaying is not me. How the fuck am I supposed to know what word means archer? Mad King's Trove. Eager to share his theory. Actually, mayhap it would be fair if we first adjourn to the more suitable location. In case a rival treasure hunter overhears a plan, you mean good thinking. It's not exactly the reason, but 'tis certainly a valid reason. Let us reconvene on the southern edge of Loch Seld. Move faster at least. I'm just going to teleport like there. Soblin. Flying spaghetti monsters. Fish. What is that? Did I pick up if I was a fish? Ah! Look at that. What a creature. There they are. Probably would have been faster if I walked around. Forgive me, it was not my intention to draw out the proceedings. I simply wish to have the lock inside while I explain things. Prior to the great flood of the sixth calamity, the salt lake you see before you was yet dry ravines, and this, believe it or not, was the site of the ancient city of Scala, which rose and fell during the fifth astral era. From what we know of the period, the city was already deserted by the time the waters began to rise, having been all but destroyed by war, yet its ruins remain to this day at the bottom of Loch Seld. It is my belief that the darkness beneath the palace mentioned by the Theodric's former scribe was not a reference to the prison, but a place still further below, the ruins of Scala. I've however surmised that my Mad King's unfortunate kinsmen were cast down there not simply out of desire to punish them, but to discourage exploration. Theodric wants to keep the ruins secure. Wait, you're saying they meant to guard the Mad King's trove. Precisely. And since we know the court of Miqo'te was involved, we can safely assume the entrance to the old city may be magically concealed. Which would explain how a legion of Imperial soldiers and gods know how many Alamegans never found a trace of the trove. We, however, have certain advantages that they do not enjoy, and I have to be so good as to swim down to the bottom of the lock and search for an underwater route to the ruins. While you do that, Anvold and I will seek out an ensorcelled portal from within the palace. Swim. So what do we do? The cracks. Find the secret places. Pages in here. And snowflakes. Yes, it is. Discover a passage that appears to lead under the palace foundations. Press on and find where it goes. Pretty. Stone. Ooh. You've come to a worn stone door standing temptingly ajar. It would appear you have found an entrance to subterranean ruins. I have its Alphano. We've searched the prison beneath the palace and found a teleportation portal concealed by enchantments. The markings indicate it leads to an underground cavern. What news on your end? You believe it leads into the ruins, and I dare say we'll be able to meet within. Go on and head through the door. By the way, I took the liberty of calling you on a friend for help. I guarantee she's both dependable and discreet. See you soon. There we go, we have another dungeon. Again, I don't think I'm going to be able to do a dungeon at midnight. Might be worth a try. Do I have the energy? Also, yeah, fuck it, you know what? We'll see. There's no harm in trying. We are not allowed because of our item level. Oh shit. Those earrings would have been great, wouldn't they? $295, that's interesting. 287. I mean... These goddamn rings. Okay, more shit. I'm going to be letting you go pretty soon anyway, but there we go. Ultima. Genji. Oh, we're gonna see fucking Gilgamesh. Genji gang, Genji gang, Genji gang. Ooh, hang on. There we go. Surely we have something. Gear. Omicron? Oh yeah, obviously Omicron is... Skaven. Ooh, fucking... This is a jump, isn't it? Well, we can improve our ring. Sadly, we can't afford... Let's have that. The trousers would look like... Oh, that's cool looking. Actually, can't quite afford it. It's also level 70. How much do we have? We have at least 445. See, a ring's really unexciting, but it is the biggest jump for the cheapest price. I have to get the ring. Aiming. 298. It's 295 for the dungeon, right? It's 320, 300. Okay, we're getting there. More importantly, we can now do Delta Escape. But obviously we're not doing that now because that's, you know, it says 11 parties recruiting, but that's like all of them. Yeah, we're not getting that done now. But, around. Let's see the actual bow. Oops, can't. Yeah, so that earring might have pushed me over, annoyingly. Somebody whispered hello to me. Not used to anyone whispering. We are here. I'm fed up now. To talk to one of the quests. That one. But like, we probably have a couple of other dungeons we can roll for. That will get us some more points. Like all I have to do is replace like another ring, get to 300. As I said before, I think it's better we continue this conversation in the privacy of the young lady's barge. It's not that I don't trust anyone here, it's simply that I don't trust anyone here. Gate guard Minigumo has been instructed to look out for you in future. Speak with him when you wish to gain admission to the docks. Thank you for coming, Knife. Probably wondering why I've summoned you to an airship. A galley and one of that. Allow me to explain on the shuttle. Prima Vista serves as both stage and home to the majestic Imperial Theatre Company. So Prima Vista's from Final Fantasy IX, right? You can keep that dirk in your drawers. No one here is a member of an Imperial army, nor are there any spies within the troop. At least no known spies. I'm a bard. Have a dirk. Ask anyone and they will readily attest the majestic Imperial Theatre Company, the finest practitioners of the dramatic arts found anywhere on the three great continents and beyond. The admirers throughout the Empire and its territories, and even boast a sizable following in Gudania, and some assignment to their story. Little known fact outside Garlemald at least, the late Emperor was a devoted patron of the arts and supported various theatre troupes to the tune of much coin. Leeds Solus was so enamoured with the majestic players that he ordered the construction of this very airship that the troupe might perform in every corner of the Empire. When his grandson took the throne, however, everything changed, and the Fire Nation attacked. Now all theatre troupes, domestic and foreign, must submit their works for approval by the Central Imperial Board of Censors. For players deemed vulgar or inflammatory, disbanded and the troupe denied their writs of transit. The worst offenders were never heard from again. Policies effectively left playwrights with one or two options: compromise their creative integrity to carry favour with his radiance, put down the quills altogether. The principle of the Majestic, however, is to choose the third option, to express disapproval of the new Emperor's policies obliquely in ostensibly unpolitical works. Pray forgive me my earlier outburst. I am Alma Bass Lexentale, daughter of Principal Geonomus Sen Lexentale. Maybe you heard my father's play, The Zodiac Brave story? Sorry, yes, I do know the Zodiac Brave story. On the surface, it's an innocent retelling of the well-known Garlean fairy tale, hardly worthy of censors' attention, but beneath it is something quite different. The fact that censors failed to spot when they approved the manuscript for public performance. The play quickly became a huge success. The common folk loved the fantastical story, while learned classes appreciated its true message. By the time Imperial Board of Censors realised their mistake, it was too late. No longer positioned to prohibit the performance outright, but admitting fault, they took aim at the company's purse strings instead. Before long, noble patrons began to withdraw their support, fearing to be associated with the troupe. By the end, even the learned, felt compelled to feign ignorance, by pleading the Majestic of their funding. The censors robbed them of their voice. None of this has made it any clearer as to why you're here, right? Allow me, Lena. I've known Geonomus since we were students at the Magitech Academy. When I heard his daughter was in Kugane looking to enlist in the aid of an adventurer, I felt compelled to give you your name. Sorry for not announcing myself sooner, old friend. Bane in the background there. Geonomus and I were from different worlds, but only served to fuel our friendship. Many were the nights we'd prattle on about into the wee small hours, warm flagons of peated ale, numbing our minds to the other naive ideologies. Yet no matter where our conversation began, it would invariably end with him telling me I was going to change the Empire from the inside out. The troop was to be his path into the people's hearts. Even after the Empire forced him from his home, Geonomus never gave up hope that his work might change the world. Art will never again strain against artificial bounds and borders, man-made walls, misguided wars. In such times of uncertainties, we must needs embrace our calling, take to the sky so others might do the same. What I'm trying to say, rather portly, I concede, is that not all Garleans are hewn from the same stone. Just as there are those who pledge their lives to the Empire and would never think to question the authority of its leaders, there are those like Alma's father and myself whose love for their country does not blind them to its flaws. Still try selling a sack of sunflower to the Alamegan Alderman who has watched his family consumed in the flame of Magitech Reaper. How many Eorzean adventurers do you think would leap at the opportunity to help an Imperial search for a missing father, and in Garlean territory no less? But you are different. You've seen enough to know that a line between good and evil is not defined by race, colour or creed. So what say you? I'd make a poor adventurer if I was to shy from adventure. Indeed. Now that you understand the nature of the task, perhaps Alma could provide some insight as to where we might begin our search. Shortly before my father disappeared, we began work on his next play, a successor to the Zodiac Brave story. I'm getting ahead. So is Final Fantasy XII going to be a successor to the Zodiac Brave? Please follow me. Though through adventure and hardship, young Delita, yes, I remember Delita, boy of common blood becomes a hero, culminating in the birth of the mythical kingdom of Ivalice. That's where the story ends. There are no records of anything that follows. Was Principal Genomus simply going to invent something? My father believed he discovered evidence of a second hero. Shit. Delita and... Oh, what's his name? Ramza, one whose efforts went largely unnoticed, but without whom Delita could never have risen to the throne. Spoiler warning game, was his next tale. This is why, another reason why I didn't want to do this yet, because I wanted to finish it. But his was the next tale we wanted to tell, the true Zodiac Brave story. Second hero. According to my father's studies, this young man was one of Delita's closest friends and confidants. That is, until the untimely passing of Delita's sister was forced the two to part ways. I am past that point in the story. The unnamed hero continued to provide aid to his friend by thwarting the machinations of those who would scheme against Delita, thus paving the way for the porpoise rise to Regent. Have they just spoiled the end of that game for me? You must forgive me, but I've never heard anyone make much claims. How exactly did your father come by this information? That is a long story. A third story, with a third hero. One begins and ends with Genomus becoming lost in a very legend he sought to lay bare. Oh, so it's a real story, even as far back as Academy days. Ivalice had Genomus firmly in its grasp. Felt that he refused to believe the story was just a fairy tale. When he was finally driven out of Garlemald, it was only natural that he should choose this of all places as his refuge, was it not, Alma? So it's not exactly the same because Alma's in the story originally. That is correct, Master Garland. It has long been my father's belief that the ruins of ancient Ivalice lie beyond Naxxia, buried beneath the sands of the Dalmasca Desert. Poor Dalmasca, the kingdom prospered in relative isolation for countless... I'm Bash von Ronsenberg of Dalmasca, generations until the Empire came calling. When not touring, my father would organise expeditions into Dalmasca Desert, search for proof of Ivalice's existence. Sometimes he'd bring back strange artifacts, ancient tomes and crystals like any others. Gilgamesh has to be in like one of the Omega dungeons, right? I want to fight Gilgamesh. I want to... Oh, that's a shame, like, because Gil is going to be in Final Fantasy VII Remake, Rebirth even. It's kind of obvious he's in it. And I was like, oh, that's a really cool decision to make, because he's in 8, and yeah, it makes sense. And my father called them Orosite, and claimed they were vital to proving his theories. This is one such crystal. Oh, we saw that at the start of the story. Are these going to be by the 12? It's magnificent. It's going to be mandatory. Evolution legend tells of crystals bequeathed by the gods unto those who would be kings. It is during his quest to gather Orosite the young Delita rises to prominence. Yes, I must have heard the tale 1,000 times from my nursemaid, but that is all it ever was, a tale. My father would often tell of how Orosite spoke to him. At the time he assumed he was speaking figuratively. The stone's beauty roused his muse. And then he began to act strangely, as if talking to an invisible person. How so? Following our arrival here in Hingashi, my father spent most of the time. This is a lot longer than I was expecting it to be. He's most of his time closeted in his chambers, poring over his past research. And though he was alone, we could oft hear him in conversation. There we go, he's talking to an invisible person. That's got to be 12. Surely it's doing bits of. I don't know what's not in all the lines. Though. It was not uncommon for my father to recite lines as he wrote them, but as soon as it became clear this was something else. It was as if he was talking to my mother. Oh, hang on. Actually, no. I shall do that. Mother! We passed several winters gone. Was your mother called Vanar? Might this not have been out of mere loneliness, or perhaps a strain of your flight from Garlemald? Possibly, but that would not explain the voices which answered him. Amma, who are these people? I told you not to require any help finding father, especially from outsiders. So good of you to join us, Ramsay. Allow me to introduce... Okay, but Ramses... What did they say their father was called? Because Ramses' father was a king who died right at the start of the story. Enough, Master Sid. We may be shunned by the Empire, but we're still Garleans. And we still have our pride, unlike some. It seems we require neither the aid nor the pity of foreign rabble. You've forgotten where you are, brother. It is we who are foreign rabble. This land and its customs are all but unknown to us. We would be fools to conduct our search without a proven guide. Your sister's right, Ramsay. As for my good friend here, your mistrust is ill-placed. I've personally vouched for her character, and all the time I've known her, she's never once let anything as insignificant as race or creed, colour or her judgment. You're lucky to have her. We would have you, Master Garland. Why would you refuse us? Because I'm doing Omega shit. You know why, until this affair with Omega is resolved. He actually says that. My hands are tied. It pains me to refuse you and your sister, but it pains me far more to leave Genomus to his fate. I don't remember Genomus. But there's like 100 characters in all the lines. Need not apologise. Not apologise. I let my emotions get the better of me after what happened in Rabanastra, which is 12. It may be time to admit we're out of our depth. My brother's last expedition met tragedy in the ruins of Capital City. Barely escaped with his life. Empire turned Rabanastra into a death trap. You thought to set foot there without a proper escort? Realise that now? Master Garland, but at the time I saw an opportunity to rescue our father, and I took it. Never led you to believe your father was in Damascus' capital. My father's fascination with evolution legend began the trip. Of course, there's a third tactics game. I've been talking to my friend about this because he really likes the Final Fantasy XII 2, and I've never played it because I'm trying to do the tactics games in order. A trip to the antediluvian city long before the war. Call it premonition, but something tells me it's where he's returned. No, you must excuse me. I must take some time to think. Then Alma, I should leave you and your brothers now have capable hands shoes. So I can't see, so it's very late. As she has ever repaid my trust with interest, you do yours to grant her yours. Well, thank you, Master Garland. We will not forget this kindness. Please excuse my fumbling of words. I'm going to let you go as soon as this cutscene ends, basically. We'll pick it up whenever they give me more free time. Masker. He thinks highly of you. Will withhold judgment until after Dalmasca. Now, I'm just going to see that would give us some orchestration, which I still don't know how to use. But yes, let us log out. So we have finished Stormblood, but this is a part of the Stormblood, sort of. It's like post Stormblood, which is why, of course, I'm still using this screen here, because I'm not going to replace this screen for every single minute again. I can't be bothered, but either way, I've been the John Struct. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time. Tomorrow, midday, demo to Final Fantasy XI. The game will be